Hey Siri, tell me some about Plantage.
The Plantage neighborhood is known as an oasis in the heart of Amsterdam, well known for its greenery and quiet streets, which stands in contrast to the traditional cobbles and canals of Amsterdam. But what is perhaps a less obvious association to this area of the city are the horrors that occurred here under German occupation in World War II. This particular area was the site of the imprisonment and deportation of tens of thousands of Jewish men, women, and children to concentration camps. This is commemorated with a series of monuments and museums such as the Resistance Museum, National Holocaust Museum, Jewish History Museum, Hollandse Schouwburg, and the Auschwitz Monument. In order to find out how people see Plantage and what role the commemorations of its dark history play in the area nowadays, we asked locals a few questions.
Like a lot of green, it's not so crowded with all the buildings, there's more space. It's not so touristic yet, hopefully.
Not yet.
You know the people around you.
It's quite green. You have the hortus, you have the zoo, you have this little park.
It means to me a place where I can study. I think it's relatively nice in that case. It's kind of sequestered in a sense. Like you have this sort of bubble where everything's kind of calm and clear, and obviously the view is really nice, especially if you go to library there. It's really good.
It seems like the museums and monuments commemorating these tragic events are not part of the discourse of the neighborhood. However, Plantage recently got branded as a Jewish cultural quarter, so we asked people directly whether they know of the neighborhood's history.
It is the Jewish neighborhood. So a lot of Jewish people lived here in the past.
Bronze plaques that you have on the floor in front of some buildings, but it's kind of a grim historical perspective, I guess. Basically you have the names of people who lived there during World War II and they were deported.
But it usually doesn't play any role in your perception of this neighborhood.
I mean, I walk over them, obviously, and that's kind of the point. Somebody told me the Dutch word is strijpelsteen, which means to trip over, right? So, and I think that's also the significance of them. It's like you sort of see them, and then you look at them, and then you, I guess, trip over the thought of, okay, you're reminding you of that, this happened.
You literally stumble upon it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great translation. And then
I think that's important.
I think it is, actually. I think it was really, really useful to do it in that way because it doesn't necessarily hamper you, I guess, if you're just walking there. Like, for example, a monument would. And that's also more, visually impressive. But I think the emotional impact is very similar. Like if you do just stop and then look at them, and then you get a way more human feeling, I guess, because sometimes you can get too boggled up in the historical meaning of it, and then the human aspect, I guess, gets lost in it. And if you just really zoom in that sense and just look at the stones, and they represent like a person, right? And then it becomes like way more visceral.
Though the existence of these commemorative monuments isn't what first comes to mind for most people, everyone seemed to have some knowledge of them. So why and how are they important?
Foucault defined discourse as
A collection of statements which provide a language for talking about and representing the knowledge about a particular topic at a particular historical moment. In this context, the monuments act to widen the discourse of the plantage, to include conversation about a tragic past and what today is a peaceful and serene neighborhood. Further, the neighborhood can be seen in a way as a kind of exhibition space where monuments, museums, and cobblestones act to remind and inform visitors who stumble upon them about a certain historical event. In this way, they guide the viewers to construct their own meaning of the significance of these events. The people we interviewed, for instance, mentioned the importance of learning from mistakes, remembering the bad as well as the good, and of valuing tolerance and equality.
Hey Siri. So Siri, to summarize, what is the importance of commemorating this event in Plantage?
Perhaps the importance of commemoration might be best summarized by the ambition of the National Holocaust Museum. These stories are as relevant as ever. Exclusion, discrimination, persecution, and murder are eternal parts of human life, and indifference to them cannot be tolerated.